A student loses both nipples on a dare. Scientists are about to broadcast Earth's location to the aliens. And a slain rapper's body was displayed at a nightclub to the shock of fans. These are the weird stories for Tuesday on Weird AF News, the only daily weird news podcast hosted by a comedian inside a closet. There it is. A male student loses both of his nipples after a dare. A 15-year-old schoolboy was dared by his friend and accidentally froze his nipples off in front of a crowd before going to class. I thought this story was fake, but I looked it up. No, there's more evidence of this. I found multiple sources about the schoolboy who froze his nipples off. Sounds like a terrible TikTok challenge. What's going on with these TikTok challenges, man? We're losing people left and right from TikTok challenges. It says here, a student in the UK lost his nipples after a dare. The dare was squirt 2 cans of Lynx body spray on his chest. I looked up this Lynx body spray. It's very similar to Axe. They have a nice website. It says, Lynx has a full range of deodorants and antiperspirants to keep you feeling fresh and smelling sweet. You may lose your nipples in the process. Doesn't say that. I added that for extra color. Now, the boy, who's not named in this story, was in school in the changing room, a.k.a. the gym, I assume, when some other student challenged him to empty 2 cans of Lynx body spray onto his exposed chest. Just wants him to smell nice, you know. How about you get a nice smelling chest? Well, you got a little more than a nice smelling chest, unfortunately, because afterwards, a student flicked his nipples, causing them to pop off. They actually popped off. Yeah, like a Looney Tunes cartoon. Just nipples off. Here's a quote from the student who had his nipples popped off. At first, it's just cold, the body spray. You feel it all over your chest. It's not really a big thing. Then it starts to burn. It really burns, especially in the nipple area. And you're just waiting for the burn to end. You know, it was fine. I was handling the burn. Then the boy who was actually freezing my nipples, you know, spraying the Lynx, he flicked both my nipples. And that's when they fell off. They just fell off. Have you ever seen a wart fall off? Yeah, it was exactly like that. It hurt. It was raw, exposed skin where my nipples used to be. I immediately thought, well, you know, I'm never going to be a nipple model. Now, the student actually went to his next lesson, his next class, as if nothing happened, it says here. He just went to class with no nipples. Can you imagine? You just had your nipples popped off in a changing room, and you go to class like nothing happened? You're not going to go to the nurse? You're not going to phone home and say, hey, Ma, come and pick me up. I'm nippleless. You have no nipples. We're going to have to figure something out here. We might have to call down to Mexico and get a nipple transplant. I think it's cheaper in Mexico to get a nipple transplant. Okay, we got another quote from the kid. So then I go to German class. Yep, just go to class. I'm just sitting. My nipples are gone, of course. I'm chilling. Oh, this guy could just chill with no nipples. Yeah, I got no nipples. I'm chilling. Yeah. I could not be chilling if I had no nipples. I'd be quite alarmed. There'd be no chilling in my world for a while until I got this nipple thing under control. Okay, he says, I'm just chilling, and then other students are like, hey, yo, bro, your shirt is bleeding. You know, and I look down, I see 2 blood stains from both my nipples, of course. My German teacher actually stopped the class and asked, hey, what's going on? Do you need to go to the medical room? And I was like, nah, it's fine. Nah, it's fine, he says. Nah, I'm just going to bleed out from my titties. It's fine. You know, I'm not going to keep some missing nipples in the way of my education. It's very important. One must go on. Life must go on. Education must proceed, despite me having no nipples. What do I need nipples for? I'm never going to breastfeed. Come on, bring the German on. Bring the German. Ignore my bloody chest, please. Now, the student who's unnamed says people react with disbelief when he reveals his lack of nipples. He has to actually show them. So it sounds like they don't grow back. Most people laugh at his no-nipple situation, including his first girlfriend, he says. This guy's tremendous. He can get a girlfriend without nipples? I got both my nipples. I can't get a girlfriend. How do you get a girlfriend with no nipples, you freak? I actually knew someone with 4 nipples, and he got a girlfriend, too. Man, some people look beyond the nipple situations, you know. guess some people like you for who you are. I've never heard of such a thing, but people do it. Now, the star of our story, the nippleless student, urges people to be cautious if they're going to copy him. Who's going to copy you, you nippleless freak? And if someone's about to copy you, obviously they're ignoring caution. He added that he has no regrets and would do it again if he could go back in time. Bullshit! You'd do it again if you could go back in time. I don't believe you for 1 second. I mean, if he can make some money off this, then maybe. If he's got some sort of, I don't know, no nipple TikTok videos that people are following him on, and he's got sponsors. Maybe he's got a bra company sponsoring him. It doesn't make any sense. I'm trying to think of like someone who would sponsor you. Something that's like nipple themed or no nipple theme. Can't think of anything. Now let me wind this story down by urging my listeners to please not flick your nipples off. Nipples are a wonderful thing. They're quite enjoyable for all. All right, now even if you identify as a male, even if you are a male, you identify as. How do I say this? Let's say you. Let me just say this. Maybe you're an organism that cannot really breastfeed. You know, one of those, whatever you call that. You know, you still might need your nipples. You still might want to have them around. Maybe not freeze them and flick them off is what I'm saying. All right. Just common sense, you know, but common sense ain't so common. Scientists are going to broadcast Earth's location to the aliens. Is this a good idea? Scientists have designed a radio message that's going to be beamed into deep space. It is meant to be received and they hope understood by an intelligent alien civilization. Yes, we've been beaming radio signals into space for quite some time. Sounds like we haven't given them our location yet. But do they already know we're here? Now, this radio message is essentially an updated version of the original radio message that was transmitted in 1974. That original message was broadcast from the Arecibo radio telescope in Puerto Rico. That original message consisted of 1,679 bits arranged into 73 lines of 23 characters. The message was transmitted via radio into deep space in binary code, which is ones and zeros. Now, once decoded, the message forms a visual graphic consisting of a stick figure of a human being, as well as representations of our solar system, the DNA helix, and the Arecibo telescope. Many of you may have even seen this image. It's pretty famous. The image that we've been beaming into space. It's a naked man, DNA, solar system. Well, the scientists designed a new message because they're like, this one isn't working. Nobody's finding us. Although we could argue, someone's found us. The new message is going to be an improved transmission, a little more detailed. It's called the Beacon in the Galaxy message, BITG. It contains more information about basic math and science. And they're hoping that these concepts will be universally understood by life forms of at least similar intelligence to humans. It says here, the message contains a new set of graphical information in the form of images and special alphabets to represent numbers, elements, DNA, land, ocean, and human beings. It's going to be featuring an artificial header and footer that consists of our prime numbers as well. The message also depicts a group of cosmic landmarks to indicate the location of Earth within the Milky Way galaxy. So it's going to have the actual location of Earth within the galaxy, letting them know, here we are. If you want to come and, take our resources and make us your slaves, here we are. If you want to come by and just sweep up the mess. Now, my question is, do we even have to let them know where we are? If this is a very highly advanced other life form, which if you can travel the space and time you'd have to travel to get here in the first damn place, you'd have to be far more technologically advanced than we are. And if you are, then you're already going to know that we're here. Just my opinion. The article says, the question of whether or not we are alone in the universe has tantalized scientists for decades. But efforts to find intelligent or even microbial life elsewhere but Earth have been unsuccessful. Some scientists think this is a good thing, like Stephen Hawking. The late physics professor Stephen Hawking expressed concern a few times about humans calling out into space, contacting aliens, letting them know where we are. Stephen Hawking showed support for efforts to find alien life, of course, but he said just by listening, he warned against actively reaching out ourselves, using humanity's own behavior as a sign that aliens might not necessarily be friendly. Here's a quote from that genius, Mr. Hawking. If you look at history, contact between humans and less intelligent organisms have often been disastrous from their point of view, and encounters between civilizations with advanced versus primitive technologies have gone badly for the less advanced. Mr. Hawking went on to say that aliens could be vastly more powerful than us and may not see us as any more valuable than we see bacteria or ants. This could be true. And when that happens, who knows what they're going to do to us? I say we go for it. Let the aliens know where we are. So they come here. It's probably a 50-50 shot whether they destroy us or help us. We could use a lot of help if you haven't noticed what's going on here. We're probably going to need a new planet after we're all done with it, And how are we going to do that? All right, we can barely get to Mars. What are we going to do with that? We could barely get up there. And then to terraform it, that's going to take too much. And we need some assistance is what I'm saying. I don't know. Do you guys agree with this? You think we should just be beaming out our location? Hey, over here, guys. Call the show 646-450-2012. You like podcasts? You're listening to my podcast. Maybe you thought to yourself, I'd like to make a podcast. Too difficult. No, not with Anchor. Anchor has free creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast from your phone or your computer. Anchor distributes your podcast to Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, and more. They have advertising integration, so you can even make a little money off your podcast. Everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. And good luck with your podcast. Good luck with your creation. Good luck with your life, man. The body of a Washington, D.C. rapper was displayed at a nightclub to the shock of fans. Markel Morrow rapped under the name Gunu. Gunu died after he was shot in a Washington, D.C. parking lot. Police are still looking for the suspects and a motive, but Morrow's family told the media they believed he was shot in a robbery. Well, on Sunday, this rapper's friends and family gathered at a place called Bliss. It's a nightclub in Washington, D.C., to honor the memory of Gunu. Video from this event shows Gunu's presumably embalmed body propped up on stage and wearing designer clothes and even a crown. The overall effect looked like someone was doing a reboot of Weekend at Bernie's, which, if you don't know, is a 1989 cult comedy about two guys who pretend a dead mobster is alive for the weekend. I saw a video of this Gunu and his body at the nightclub. It's a little over the top. You should take a look at it. I didn't know you could do this. Fans of the rapper Gunu expressed on social media some outrage about his body being displayed like this at a nightclub. Here's a quote from someone named Melanin. It's no way y'all supporting Gunu standing up in a club for a funeral. Ultimate disrespect. Let the man rest in peace the correct way, will you? The reaction on social media was pretty strong, and the nightclub had to post an apology yesterday on social media saying they were contacted by a local funeral home for a celebration of the rapper's life, but had no idea of what would actually transpire. You had no idea. You think the funeral home doesn't tell you that the body's coming as well? Yeah, like a funeral home would actually leave that part out. They didn't tell us that an embalmed rapper was going to be delivered. Yeah, and then when the embalmed rapper showed up, you didn't turn him away. You didn't say, hey, we have regulations here. I think this might violate a code. This might violate a code. We're not allowed to have mummies on the stage at our nightclub. Hookah is fine, not the body of dead rappers. Yeah, I find it hard to believe that you didn't know what was going on. And from a business standpoint, this might be a mistake by the club. I, for one, support such activities, to be honest with you. I think the way that we treat death in this country is kind of morbid. It's not very celebratory. Your typical funeral is very dreary and sad. Why not have a good time? Like, I'd be very pleased if you took my embalmed body to a comedy club after I died and had a party around me. Prop me right up on stage, put a mic in my hand. Celebrate my life. Put me up there, in the position where I found myself for, a lot of my life was spent on stage. Why not put me up there? I would imagine Gunu would be pleased with this sort of post-mortem, I'd imagine, So, yeah, I say I like it. What do you got? How do you guys feel about it? Call the show or email me, funnyjones@gmail.com. Yay! Thank you, my loyal listeners, for joining me for another episode of Weird AF News. Please make sure you subscribe to it and share it with a friend. If you haven't done so already, you can even rate it on such places as Spotify, where you could just give it some stars, 5 stars, I think. On iTunes and Amazon, you can write an actual review if you'd like to take the time to do that. I'll read it on the air and give you a big time shout out. I'll show up at your door and give you a nice little noogie and a hickey. No, I probably won't, but I mean, if you're close enough, yeah, maybe I'll make the trip. I don't have a fly all over the world and give people hickeys and noogies budget, though. Really, to be honest with you. All right, I'm out of my mind, clearly. If you'd like to support the show with a couple of bucks to keep Jonesy highly caffeinated, you can go to patreon.com/weirdafnews or weirdafnews.com and join the Patreon. I posted, 3-4 things in there yesterday, a couple of things this morning as well. Got a lot of extra weird content that I'm throwing in there, stuff that I come across on YouTube and what have you. Follow-up stories. A lot of extra Florida stuff, too, that isn't really suitable for the Florida Friday episode. I'll put them in there. What do you mean by not suitable? Well, stuff that's like visual, I'll throw that in there because a podcast is audio for the most part. But then I come across visual stuff that's awesome, and I'm like, I'll put it in the Patreon because it's appropriate, and I want people to see it. And anyways, my patrons seem to enjoy this, so maybe you want to get a piece of that as well. Go to weirdafnews.com, click on the Patreon link, support the show. All right, we'll see you tomorrow. Love you very much.